Hello friends, I am Dr. Vijay Prakash and today I'll be telling you about connectors in fixed dental processes. Connectors are those components of fixed dental processes which joins the retainers and the Pontic. So by definition, connectors are the portion of the fixed dental processes that unites the retainers and the Pontics. Now what are the requirements for appropriate connector design? One, it is very important that it should have sufficiently large area to prevent distortion or fracture during function. So this area which is joining between the Pontic and the retainer is the connector, and this should be large enough so that it does not fracture on function. Another thing is you should provide adequate space for effective plaque control, and the size, shape and position of the connector usually determines its overall longevity and success of the processes. Another thing is the tissue surface of the connector should be highly polished, that is this area, because if it is rough then it will invite plaque accumulation, and definitely that will be harmful for the tissues. Another thing, the tissue surface of the connector should curve labiolingually, that is again to aid in cleaning. And if it is the aesthetic zone, then the connectors are usually placed more lingually and not in the center or towards the buccal. It is placed more lingually so that they provide good aesthetics. Next is classification of connectors. Connectors are majorly of two types. One is the rigid connectors and another one is the non-rigid connectors. Rigid connectors are of four types. They are cast connectors, soldered connectors, welded connectors and loop connectors. And non-rigid connectors are of three types. They are dovetail, split Pontic and cross pin and wing type of non-rigid connectors. Now let us see each of them one by one. Rigid connectors. Rigid connectors are one of the most widely used and they are the most commonly used connectors in fixed dental processes. And here what you see is all the components, whether they are the retainers or the Pontics, they are connected rigidly. And that is the reason they are called the rigid connectors. And the forces are distributed over two or more abutment teeth, as you can see in this figure also. First is the cast connectors. These are rigid connectors, as you can see, and they are these connectors are between the retainers and the Pontics, and they are casted together. And how do we do that? They are made by flowing wax between the wax patterns of the retainers and the Pontic, and such a bridge is then casted as a single unit. As you can see, this is made by flowing wax here. This is the retainer and this is the Pontic. So you have the wax which is flown in between, and this is casted as a single unit. The advantage of cast connectors are they are stronger than the soldered or welded connectors, and they are more convenient because they can be cast as a single unit. You don't have to do another procedure, and they do not require a separate process as you do in welding or a soldering process. What are the disadvantages? Their main drawback is they have chances of distortion, especially in long span bridges. So whenever you are using multiple unit bridges, so these are casted separately and these several sections are then soldered together to make a single unit. That's how it can be managed. Now next type of connectors are the soldered connectors, and soldered connectors basically involve an intermediate metal alloy or a solder alloy whose melting temperature is lower than that of the parent metal, which is introduced between the parts which are to be joined, and then it is soldered. So what is soldering? Now soldering is a process in which the filler metal has a melting point which is below 450 degrees centigrade, And you have another process which is called as the brazing. And brazing is that process in which the filler metal has a melting point which is more than 450 degrees centigrade. So this melting temperature decides what type of procedure we have to do. How do we do soldering? We have either the section bridges or the broken part. We will invest it in an investment material, and then we will introduce the gap between the two parts will be not more than 0.25 millimeters. That is the recommended width. If you have a larger gap or a larger space in between, then it will reduce solder accuracy. Whereas if you are having a smaller gap than this, then it will hinder in proper flow of the solder metal. So here what happens that you flow the solder metal and between the parent metal. As such, the parts are not melted, only the soldered metal is melted, and it is made to wet these surface of these parent metal, and then it bonds between that and joins the two separate components. Now soldering process is used in long span bridges where multiple units are joined. And they are also indicated in cases where pontic and retainers are made separately. That is where you have the complete metal crown retainer which is joined with a metal ceramic pontic. Suppose this is a metal total complete metal part of the retainer, and you have this pontic which is a metal ceramic. So if these are individually made, then you can use soldering procedure to join them. Next type of connectors are the welded connectors. And this is another method of rigidly joining the metal parts. Here the connection is created by melting adjacent surfaces by heat or pressure, and it can also be done by introducing a filler metal whose melting temperature is about the same as that of the parent metal which is used. So either we directly join by heat and pressure these two metal surfaces, or we introduce a filler metal whose melting temperature is same as these parent metals in order to weld it. Now next type of rigid connectors are the loop connectors. These are the connectors which are used when diastema is to be maintained in fixed processes, and it consists of a loop on the palatal aspect, as you can see, that connects the adjacent retainers and or a pontic. And it can be casted with a sprue wax or made with the platinum gold palladium alloy. So this can be either with a sprue wax, this loop can be made, or you can use a palladium alloy, that is the platinum gold palladium alloy. And here what we need to keep in mind is that adequate space should be provided so that there is an effective plaque control, so that the patient can maintain an effective plaque control. So these were all the 4 types of rigid connectors. Now we come to the non-rigid connectors. As I told that non-rigid connectors, there are 3 types, and non-rigid connectors are basically indicated in cases where you have stress breakers which are usually required in a long span bridge. Now that is especially in those cases which involves the pier abutment. As I told you that pier abutment are those abutment which are having edentulous spaces both anterior and posterior to it. So in long span bridges, if you have to reduce the stress on this kind of bridges, then you go for a non-rigid type of connectors. And also if you want to avoid having the pier abutment act as a fulcrum, because if this acts as a fulcrum, then there are chances of dislodgement of the processes. So in order to avoid that, we will require a non-rigid connector here. And also it can be used in cases where abutment teeth are non-parallel and where having a single path of insertion is difficult to achieve. So also in those cases, non-rigid connectors are indicated. Now, what is the first type of non-rigid connector? That is the dovetail, which you see in the figure, and they are also called as tenon and mortise design or key or keyway. And this design consists of a keyway or the mortise, which is this part, and you have the key or the tenon, which is the male part attached to the pontic. So you have the female component, that is the mortise part, which is attached to the retainer, and you have the male part, which is also called as tenon, which is attached to the pontic. This is one of the most commonly used non-rigid connectors, and the alignment of this design is very critical, as it should have parallelism, because the key and the keyway should be parallel to each other, so that they can insert in one direction, that is in one path of alignment. And this parallelism is achieved on a dental surveyor, and the mortise or the female component is prepared using a freehand wax. It can be custom made by using your freehand wax when we are making wax pattern for this component, that is the anterior component. So in those we can just modify and make this type of female part in the retainer, and the male part can be made once this part is already cemented onto the teeth. Since this is a precision attachment, precision process, so it is always better, rather than doing a freehand wax or modifying in the wax pattern, it is always better to use a milling machine for making such components. Also, you have prefabricated components, which are the key and the keyways, which are just attached in the wax pattern at the time of before the casting procedure. Now, advantages of this type of connector is the normal movements of the tooth is not interfered with the use of this type of connector, and therefore the deleterious effects to the supporting tissues are prevented. One thing, and it is advantageous from the aesthetic point of view, as it allows the simple type of retainers that require less cutting of the tooth structure, which results in a more aesthetic restoration. So we usually are indicating non-rigid connectors where you are having more of tilting of the abutment teeth. So when you are giving a non-rigid connectors, you are avoiding reducing the tooth too much of reduction, and that way it is advantageous. So first we are going to cement the anterior part of the bridge, which is having the keyway, that is the mortise part, and once it is cemented, then you are going to cement the other part of the bridge and fix the don't cement the key with the keyway. It is only placed so that it provides a non-rigid connection between the two parts. Another type of non-rigid connectors are the split pontic. Now this type of connectors were advocated by Conner and Cogman and Burmese in 1986, and they are used in cases where you are having pier abutment, as you can see, which requires excessive preparation due to tilting. So if in a non-rigid connectors where you are having a pier abutment and you have a lot of tilt of this pier abutment, so if you are having such a situation, then you can go for a split pontic type of non-rigid connector. Now this connector is incorporated entirely within the pontic. As you can see, you have two parts and the pontic is split into two parts. The one part is this, another part is this. So as I said, you have two parts of the pontic. One is the mesial segment, which is attached here, and you have the distal segment. Now each of these segments is attached to their respective retainers, and now here what happens, we will be making the mesial segment, which is having the pier abutment retainer and the pontic, and you are making a key on this pontic on this side, and then you are going to cement this part onto the prepared teeth. So once you have done that, you are going to prepare keyway on the other retainer, which is connecting the distal abutment, and this keyway is going to go into the key and fit into this. You can use a surveyor for the sake of parallelism between the two parts, because if these are not parallel to each other, then they are not going to fit. In fact, they are not going to align together and fit properly. Because of the precise fit, cement is not used between the two segments of this Pontic. So this is about your split Pontic. Next type of non-rigid connector is the cross pin and wing, and it was advocated by Ishmiller and Parry in 1994 for those cases which had tilted abutment. It consists of two-piece Pontic system which allows the two segments of the bridge to be connected rigidly. And here the path of insertion of each tooth is made parallel to the long axis, and the vertical wing is attached to the mesial surface of the distal retainer. Now if you see the Pontic here, you have the distal retainer and you have the mesial part of this retainer which is attached. So this is part of the Pontic, which will be the distal part, and here you have the retainer Pontic component, which is again having another part which is the distal part. So you have the retainer wing component and you have the retainer Pontic component. This wing is fabricated in such a manner that it is parallel to the mesial abutment, which is aligning the long axis of the mesial abutment. As I said, the Pontic is attached to the mesial retainer, and it is designed in such a manner so that it fits the wing in the retainer wing component, that is on the distal abutment. The Pontic along with the mesial retainer is called as the retainer Pontic component, and there, as I told you, the retainer wing component is along with you have the retainer and the mesial part, which is called the retainer wing component, that is attached to the distal abutment. So once you have seated this retainer Pontic component on the prepared tooth, and this you do on a master cast, and then you are going to align this retainer part and join this. So once these are joined, then you are going to take a twist drill and drill a hole of 0.7 millimeter in the center of this. As you can see, this hole you will drill through a twist drill, and once this hole is drilled, then you are going to fabricate a pin of the same diameter, that is 0.7 millimeters, and with the same alloy. This is done to avoid galvanic corrosion, and the pin of this 0.7 millimeter, as I told, is a rigid pin, and there is no type of flexibility of that pin. So first the retainer, distal retainer and wing assembly is cemented. So first thing which we have to do, we have to cement this part, and then we are going to cement the retainer Pontic component like this. Care has to be taken that the hole should be precisely meeting each other. So once you have the hole precisely meeting each other, then after that the pin which you have fabricated of the same alloy is basically you use a mallet and a punch, and you going to fix the pin into this hole. So once this pin is fixed, then you have a non-rigid type of connection at this area between in this bridge. So this is all about connectors and fixed dental processes. Thank you for watching the video.